Before you scroll, before you decide this is just another video, pause for 10 seconds. If you've ever felt mentally slow, distracted, or disappointed in yourself, this video is not entertainment for you. It's a mirror. Watch till the end, not because I ask you to, but because something here will explain a problem you never knew how to name. Now listen carefully. Smart people don't feel confident. They feel confused. They know they're capable, yet forget simple things. They overthink easy decisions. So, they feel mentally tired for no clear reason, and the most dangerous thought appears. Maybe I'm not as smart as I thought, but what if the truth is darker and simpler? What if intelligence doesn't disappear? What if it goes offline? In ancient Japan, warriors noticed something strange. Their most skilled fighters didn't fail because of weak technique. They failed because their mind arrived late, not distracted. Not lazy, just not present. They called this lost Zanshin, the quiet awareness that stays before, during, and after every moment. And here's the part no one tells you. The more intelligent you are, the more painful Zanshin loss becomes. Because a powerful mind without presence doesn't become average. It becomes self-destructive. If you've ever felt like your brain is working against you, this story will explain why. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, so I can keep bringing you great content. You wake up tired even after sleeping, not physically exhausted, mentally scattered. Your day hasn't started yet, but your mind already feels late. You open your phone, a notification, then another, then a thought you didn't invite. By the time you stand up, your attention is already divided into pieces. And somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice whispers, why can't I just focus like before? In ancient Japan, this was not called distraction. It was called a broken state of presence. They believed the mind does not weaken suddenly. It drifts, slowly, silently, until one day you realize you're no longer fully here. There is a story recorded among Zen-trained warriors, not about battle, not about victory, but about a student who was intelligent, disciplined, and hardworking, yet kept failing at the simplest moments. He could explain complex ideas. He could train for hours. But when it mattered, his mind hesitated. His teacher did not punish him, did not lecture him. Instead, one evening, the teacher asked him a strange question. When you drink water, who are you? The student laughed. Why in the present, of course? The teacher shook his head. No, your body is here. Your mind is already thinking about the next moment. That was the problem. The teacher explained something unsettling. Most people think intelligence lives in thinking, but clarity lives in staying. When the mind rushes ahead, intelligence turns against itself. Thoughts multiply, decisions slow down, simple tasks feel heavy. This is why smart people often feel stupid. Not because they lack ability, but because their awareness keeps leaving the room. In modern life, this happens constantly. You rush meals, you rush conversations, you rush goals, even rest feels rushed. And slowly the mind forgets how to arrive fully. Presence is not calmness. It is not silence. Presence is the ability to remain where you are, even when the mind wants to escape. The Japanese called this Zanshin, the awareness that stays before action, during action, and after action. Lose Zanshin, and life becomes noisy, confusing, and mentally exhausting. But here's the dangerous part. You don't notice its loss immediately. You just feel mentally slower, emotionally dull, constantly behind. You blame motivation. You blame discipline. You blame yourself. But the real issue is simpler. Your mind is always elsewhere. And until you learn how to bring it back, no habit, no routine, no productivity system will fix that. In the next part, you'll see how rushing became normal and why slowing down feels uncomfortable, even scary, to the modern mind. Because once you understand that, you'll realize this was never a focus problem. It was a presence problem. Rushing did not enter human life suddenly. It was trained into us, slowly, quietly, repeated every day. In the past, speed was required only in danger. Hunting, war, survival. But rest was slow, thinking was slow, learning was slow. The mind knew when to tighten and when to release. Modern life erased that boundary. Now urgency has no enemy. Everything feels important. Everything feels late. You wake up already chasing time, not because you are behind, but because your mind has been taught that stillness is waste. This is why slowing down feels uncomfortable. When you try to focus, the mind resists. When you sit quietly, thoughts become louder. When nothing happens, anxiety rises. You think something is wrong with you. But in ancient Japanese philosophy, this reaction was expected. Zen teachers warned about a condition where the mind forgets how to remain. They said when attention is constantly pulled forward, awareness becomes thin, like stretched fabric, strong enough to exist, too weak to hold anything. This is why even intelligent people struggle with simple moments. You read a page and forget it. You listen, but don't absorb. You think, but don't see clearly. Your intelligence is intact, your presence is not. Zanshin teaches that the mind must arrive before it can act, but rushing skips arrival. When you rush, you listen to respond, not to understand. You work to finish, not to engage. You rest while planning the next task. Nothing is ever complete. The mind never closes a loop. Over time, this creates a quiet exhaustion, not of the body, but of attention. Japanese monks observed this centuries ago. They noticed students becoming sharp in thought, but dull in awareness. So they introduced practices that seemed useless to outsiders. Walking slowly, repeating simple actions, pausing after completion, not for discipline, but to retrain the mind to stay. Because a mind that cannot stay, cannot see deeply, cannot choose wisely, cannot feel fully alive. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Rushing feels productive, but it slowly destroys clarity. And clarity is what makes intelligence usable. Without it, smart people overthink. They hesitate. They doubt decisions they already know the answer to. They feel stupid while being capable. This is not failure. It is misalignment. The mind is living in the next moment, while life keeps happening in this one. Until this gap is closed, no advice will work. In the next chapter, you'll see how Zanshin rebuilds presence, not through force, but through a subtle shift that changes how the mind moves through time itself. And once that shift happens, rushing no longer controls you. You control the pace.
Yeah.
The young warrior's name was Akio. He was not weak, he was not lazy, and he was not untrained. In fact, among the students of the mountain dojo, Akio was known for his sharp mind. He learned techniques faster than others. He remembered formations, strategies, sequences. Masters often praised his understanding. Yet during sparring, something strange kept happening. Akio always moved first, but he rarely moved right. His strikes were fast, but unfinished. His defenses were quick, but unstable. It was as if his body arrived before his awareness. During one practice duel, Akio attacked without hesitation. His opponent stepped aside calmly. Before Akio could adjust, the wooden blade rested against his chest. Defeat. Again. Akio lowered his head, breathing hard. Not from exhaustion, but frustration. Later that evening, he sat alone near the edge of the training ground, replaying the moment in his mind. Every mistake felt obvious after it happened. That was the pattern. Clarity always came late. His master, an older warrior named Sensei Hoshin, watched silently from a distance. He did not interrupt. He waited. Finally, he spoke. "You were always in a hurry, Akio?" Akio looked up, confused. "I only wanted to act decisively." Hoshin nodded. "And you acted before you arrived." Akio did not understand. The master continued, his voice calm and slow. "You rush not because you are impatient, but because you are afraid of stillness." Akio wanted to deny it, but something inside him tightened. Sensei Hoshin drew a line in the dirt with his staff. "This," he said, "is the moment before action. Most people abandon it too early." He drew another line. "This is the moment after action. Most people disappear here." Then he placed his hand between the lines. "This is Zanshin." Akio listened carefully. "In battle," the master said, "the enemy is not the man in front of you. It is the part of your mind that wants the moment to end." Akio realized something painful. Every time he fought, he wanted to be done. Done proving himself. Done making mistakes. Done feeling pressure. So his mind escaped forward. And in escaping, it left him blind. That night, Akio could not sleep. For the first time, he understood that his problem was not skill, but presence slipping away at the exact moment it was needed most. And until he learned how to stay, every strike, no matter how fast, would remain incomplete. In the next chapter, Akio will be forced into a kind of training that feels useless, uncomfortable, and even humiliating, but it will quietly begin rebuilding the awareness he lost. Akio expected punishment, extra drills, longer hours, sharper commands. Instead, Sensei Hoshin gave him something worse: nothing. The next morning, while other students trained with blades and forms, Akio was told to stand alone at the edge of the courtyard. No weapon, no movement, no instruction. Stand, the master said. and remain. At first it felt easy, then pointless, then unbearable. His legs tightened. His thoughts wandered. Why am I here? What is this fixing? Others are progressing. I'm being left behind. Time stretched. The sun moved slowly across the sky. Akio shifted his weight. Instantly, Sensei Hoshin's voice cut through the air. You left. Akio froze. I didn't move, he said. You did, the master replied. Your mind stepped away before your body did. This continued for days. No sparring. No techniques, only stillness. Akio began to feel exposed. When there was nothing to do, thoughts attacked him. Doubt, impatience. Old failures replayed themselves again and again. The urge to escape grew stronger than the urge to fight ever had. One evening, Akio finally spoke. This training feels useless, he said quietly. I'm becoming worse, not better. Sensei Hoshin did not argue. He placed a bowl of water in front of Akio. Look at it, he said. Akio stared. The surface was disturbed by the wind. The reflection broke apart. When the water is moving, the master said, you cannot see clearly. He waited until the air settled. Hugh waited until the air settled. The surface became still. The reflection returned. Your mind, he continued, has been rushing for years. You are not weak. You are unsettled. Akio felt something loosen inside him. Zanshin is not created through effort, the master said. It appears when you stop abandoning the moment. That night, Akio stood again, but this time he did not fight the discomfort. He noticed it, the ache in his legs, the pull of his thoughts, the urge to leave. And for the first time, he stayed. Not perfectly, not calmly, but honest. And in that small act of staying, something ancient began to return. Akio had learned to stay still, but stillness alone would not save him in battle. The next morning, Sensei Hoshin called him to the sparring arena. Other students were waiting, swords ready. Akio gripped his own blade, heart racing. He was not afraid of pain. He was afraid of leaving the moment again. The master stepped forward. Today, you fight, but not to strike, not to win, to remain. Akio frowned. How can I fight without rushing? By not abandoning the strike, Hoshin replied simply. The duel began. Akio lunged faster than ever. He almost felt his old rhythm return. The quick, impatient strikes that had failed him before. But something inside stopped him. He remembered the courtyard, the stillness, the reflection in the water. He slowed. Not just his movements, his thoughts slowed. His strike met his opponent's not a second too late, not a second too early, not a second too early. For the first time, every motion flowed with awareness, not against it. The fight continued. Each clash tested him. Every moment tempted him to rush. Every temptation reminded him of old habits, fleeing the present. But Akio stayed. He was not faster than before. He was not stronger than before. He was present. By the end of the duel, the master stepped forward and placed a hand on his shoulder. You see now, Hoshin said, a presence is stronger than speed. Awareness is stronger than skill. Akio nodded, sweat and dirt on his face, breathing deep. For the first time, he felt intelligence in motion. Not as knowledge, not as technique, but as a mind fully alive in every instant. Later that evening, as he cleaned his sword, Akio realized something deeper. The rush he carried all his life, the compulsion to do, to fix, to complete, was not a habit of action. It was a habit of escaping himself. Zanshin was not just about martial arts. It was a way of being. And the lesson would follow him long after the dojo, long after battles, long after he thought he had finished learning. Every step, every choice, every thought now had a place. Every moment, no matter how small, mattered. Akio stood alone on the training ground at sunrise. The wind whispered through the trees. The mountains were still. For the first time, he felt completely here. No rush, no anticipation, no lingering doubt. Months of stillness, discipline, and awareness had built something unseen but powerful inside him. He picked up his sword, not to strike, not to prove, just to be present. Each movement flowed naturally. Each step was deliberate. His mind did not wander to victory or defeat. It rested in the now. Sensei Hoshin approached, a faint smile on his lips. You have learned the hardest lesson, he said. Your mind no longer abandons the moment. That is Zanshin. Akio realized that intelligence had never left him. The confusion, the hesitation, the feeling of being a stupid all of it was simply his mind running ahead of itself. Now he could see clearly. The path ahead without fear decisions, without doubt actions, without unnecessary haste even outside the dojo. Life became different. Tasks that once seemed overwhelming now felt manageable. Conversations that felt confusing now held meaning. Moments that seemed fleeting were no longer lost. The young warrior had transformed, not faster, not stronger, not smarter, simply present. And in presence, everything else naturally followed. Skill, clarity, confidence, all returned, not as effort, but as a byproduct of awareness. Akio had discovered the Zanshin truth. Truth. You are not stupid. You are only not here. Return to the moment and your mind will remember itself. As he sheathed his sword, the mountain seemed to echo the lesson. Life does not reward speed. Life does not reward knowledge alone. Life rewards those who arrive fully. And for Akio, the journey had only just begun. Because presence, once found, is a path, not a destination. You're not losing intelligence. You're losing presence. You're losing presence. Zanshin brings it